to receive the NAACP award. And it's a wonderful evening tonight. There's so many people here. And the NAACP has fought for 65 years for racial equality and justice. And I'm very happy to be a part of the organization and to receive your award this evening.
I'm nervous. Talk to the camera.
I'm honored. I'm very honored, and I'm humbled. And I'm just proud of the fact that the NAACP is doing such a good job. Brockton, we're proud of you. Thank you.
Well, I'm honored to receive an award for education because coming from a family of teachers and being one myself and being involved in the NAACP, I'm honored.
Thank you, Mark.
Phyllis, I have to tell you, it's a wonderful honor to receive this award because we have so many volunteers that have worked so hard for the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association. And you know, Frederick Douglass said he had 3 tools: his voice, his pen, and his vote. And that's what we focused on this year in the garden. So thank you so much for acknowledging our work.
You're welcome. That's great. I love it. Thank you, Lynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of President Phyllis Ellis, I want to welcome you to the 65th anniversary of the Brockton NAACP. If you are justice fighters, give yourself a hand clap, and don't be shy about it. Don't be shy about it. We have had some tough times in the last year, but under the leadership of President Ellis, we have made it. Amen? I'm going to ask that the invocation be given by our distinguished pastor. Is he around? There he comes. Come on, Pastor. Amen.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Listening God, generous teacher, divine judge, your justice and your mercy are revealed to us in your steadfast love. We give thanks for 65 years of the Brockton branch of the NAACP. We give thanks for Brother Steve Bernard, for Mary Baker and her strong legacy, for Rabbi David Werb, for Lynn Smith, Laronda Campbell, for Mark Linde, Noube Rateau, and Joan Madden. We rejoice in hope. We lift our prayer to you, most gracious God, trusting that you, by the presence of your Spirit and the experience of this evening, will renew and direct our hearts. We thank you, God, and so it is.
Amen. Y'all give Reverend Walker a hand clap. Lord have mercy. We are glad to have Reverend Walker in the house. Amen. Y'all know I have my list of things that my president has asked that I make sure that I do. And so I'm going to make sure that I do that. I want to first, before calling up President Ellis, we want to welcome and acknowledge every elected official in this place today. I know that from this list we have State Representative Jerry Cassidy, newly elected Brockton City Councilor Jeffrey Thompson, newly elected Brockton City Councilor Tina Cardoso, Brockton City Councilor Timothy Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the first black mayor of the city of Brockton, Moses Rodriguez. Mayor-elect Robert Sullivan. Brockton City Councilor-elect Rita Mendez. Brockton School Committee-elect Tony Rodriguez. Senator Michael Brady. And a very important addition to the Brockton School Department Superintendent Office, Mike Thomas. I see over my left Brockton City Councilor Ann Bogart. Now, if I'm missing anyone else, please stand so we can acknowledge you. We believe in giving you your due. Okay, if I've missed anything, please charge it to my what? To my mind, not to my heart. God bless you. God bless you. We also want to recognize a very important person, not only to me personally, but to the New England, all the New England branches and chapters. Juan Cofield. Brother Cofield, can you stand, please? President Juan Cofield. We thank Reverend Walker for being our keynote speaker tonight. And very importantly, we want to thank all the awardees. Just for housekeeping items, I believe that the restrooms are located to my left. If y'all need to get to them, and y'all hear me saying y'all. Y'all, yes. I got some y'all, I'm some Mississippi. I mean, y'all, with all due respect, I'm an educated man, but y'all comes out. The bathrooms are located over here. At this time, I'm going to ask our distinguished president, Phyllis Ellis, to join us.
Where's my speech? What you do? Down there. Can't read it. Good evening. On behalf of the Brockton Area Branch National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, let me welcome our distinguished guests, Mayor Moses and his wife, Maria, Mayor-elect Bob Sullivan, his wife, Maria, all the elected officials, past presidents, Juan Cofield, members, friends, and our awardees and their friends. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for gathering here tonight to celebrate 65 years of the Brockton Area Branch National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Our theme this evening is reflections, and I will be reflecting on the back over 65 years. I will reflect on the beginning, the middle, and the now. Our national organization this year is 110 years old. And the second oldest branch, the Boston branch, one of our mentors, is 107 years old. See? This year is also special because 400 years ago, Black American humanity was born in 1619 when a ship landed on the shores of Virginia and 20-odd Negroes that were sold into slavery. But this evening, 1619 is not our major focus, or the national organization, nor the Boston branch, but the Brockton Area Branch and how it got to be 65 years old. I want to take you guys, thank you. I want to take you on a brief journey to highlight some of those years from birth to the present time. The year 1954 had Harry O. Bernard, the grandfather of Steve Bernard, one of our former presidents, finally acquiring a charter to start a branch in Brockton. The next year, 1955, the Brockton Area Branch National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was officially established. There have been 16 presidents over 65 years, and we are grateful for their service. However, there are 3 past presidents who deserve special recognition. With a small but organized group, the Brockton Area Branch elected their first president, Bernard Cohen, a white man that had the respect of the tiny but growing black community in Brockton, and perhaps even more fortunate, he was a Jewish man who had some understanding of exclusion and discrimination. Selecting him as president made sense in 2 fundamental ways. It first showed our roots as an interracial national organization from our founding in 1909, and second, as a lawyer and active citizen in Brockton, Cohen was an ally to a community that was nearly invisible at that time. Imagine with me for a moment, black people in the city of Brockton in the 1950s and the 60s. Those years, Brockton had an entire population of 150,000 people. Of that total, black totaled 1,300 people out of 150,000. In those early years, the branch understood that the community they were representing needed allies in all communities of Brockton. Compromise was important, and equally important, knowledge and awareness of our community, which was provided by our branch and leaders to the larger Brockton community. Collaboration was an early strategy, and one of our major connections was with the churches. During this period, the branch worked closely with them in our community, namely Messiah Baptist Church and Lincoln Congregational Church. While Cohen was president that year, 2 momentous national events happened that changed the landscape of American democracy and galvanized the new branch. The brutal late summer murder of Emmett Till, the 14-year-old boy in Mississippi, and his open casket funeral. And second, the vibrant, steady grace of a middle-aged woman who refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama, Miss Rosa Parks. Black people here, around the nation, and their supporters lived these hopes and tragedies. As leaders and members, they were searching in the beginning and learning about this newly formed community and their new city. In our early foundation, we had about an equal amount of men and women. That's good. Some members lived in nearby towns such as Stoughton, Bridgewater, Avon, Easton, and Randolph. A large part of our membership came from the churches and came from the ranks of people with professional jobs, or what our community called good jobs. However, our first campaign was geared towards helping the hard-working, low-income Brockton families. We rallied members and people around the city for unfair housing policies toward black people and won integration in government housing. That was a small but important victory that led the branch to develop strategies to launch several early projects: housing and job discrimination, educating minority children, sponsoring cultural programs to educate ourselves and others. The branch did all of these activities during the turbulent, violent, and changing times of the 1960s. Then a new decade came around, the 1970s, and for our branch, up came the historic rise and achievement of a remarkable woman and a branch president, Nan Ellison. Nan was warm and engaging, a collaborator, but a straight shooter too, political and yet more humane, a lover of mingling people and getting the best out of them. Many people in the room were nurtured by her. Nan and her crew were pioneers that brought many things to our branch, like the AXO program, a successful membership drive, a newsletter, active youth, education, and business committees. Nan wanted us to vote and run for office. She became president in 1974, and she was president for 16 years. 16 years. There's hope for me. With the advent of the 90s came the generation push of Steve Bernard as president. If Nan was the pioneer in creating many projects and opportunities, Steve was the sustainer. He kept and developed many of the programs of Nan, but with a new generational approach. Steve's administration took us out of a church basement and settled us into an office on Main Street for the first time. Under his watch came the cable, the NAACP forum, a radio show, intake referral programs, and our largest membership. Though they were different generations, Steve, like Nan, was responsible for mentoring new leaders too. But like a lot of organizations, there were hard times and the branch went into a decline for a few years. But with the help of Steve and other members, we came roaring back. So now we are in the present. So as the present, our membership has almost tripled in the last 3 years. We have old members coming back. We have new members joining. And when membership is up, that means that people are paying attention, that our branch must be doing something in a positive way. So whenever we get members in, that's a good thing, okay? The Brockton area branch is actively engaged. Besides increasing our membership, we revamped our monthly newsletter that you guys normally get that I send out. We restarted our AXO program, Correction, our award-winning AXO program. Kudos to Pat Monteith, Tiffany Ellis-Niles, Sandy Marrow, Delary Barber, and all the talented students who compete each year for AXO. We also are in our second year of the STEM program as the request of Governor Baker. We had a STEM program this past October, and we brought in over 300 kids, in science, technology, engineering, and math. The branch is moving. We are also cooperate with other organizations to bring out important issues. We have important committees like the Education Committee, like Leona Martin is the chair of that. We have a health committee that we're focusing right now on prostate cancer, and Janet Trask is the chair of that. We revived our NAACP forum with host Tony Branch. He's doing a great job at that. Robert Jenkins, he is our chair of the Housing Committee. And we also have the WIN Committee, the Women in the NAACP. And we have one of our youngest members chairing that, Courtney Henderson. So you see, we are busy. And we take time out to honor nice people of the community for awards. But we always, always are fighting against race-based discrimination. We always do that. That's our #1 thing, okay? So we are vital. We're not obsolete. We're here. So recognition of our past and the work we are doing in the present are coming widespread. Our history has given us lessons and inspirations that has made us, in these 65 years, the civil and social rights organization in the city. Our efforts at founding and developing a branch area organization have made us the template for other groups, organizations, and persons to follow in their struggle to end race-based discrimination and to elevate universal freedom. The Brockton Area Branch and National Association for the Advancement of Colored People will continue its mission of equality and doing the right thing by our city and the diverse body of people in it. So you see, Reflections was an excellent choice this evening, reflecting on our beginning, the middle, and the new. So congratulations, Brockton Area Branch and National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, to your 65 years. Long may we reign. Still, we rise. Thank you.
Let us give President Ellis another hand clap on that one. Now, I've been in church a long time, and I know this ain't church, but y'all act like y'all bored. Why y'all looking like that? Why y'all looking like that? So, and I know Reverend Rocker know where I'm going with this. So look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, it ain't over Oh, y'all ain't talking back to me. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor! Ha! It ain't over. I gotta wake y'all up. Lord have mercy. Yeah, now y'all spiritual. Reverend Walker, I hope you didn't mind, brother. I had to do something. Let's bless the president said, let's bless this food. Let us bow our heads so we can bless the food. Heavenly Father, in the name of the Christ that I serve, bless the food that we're now about to receive. May we provide strength in our bodies for Christ's sake. We pray. Those that believe in redemption say amen. 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 Our dinner music is going to be by the lovely singer. Why don't we give the singers a hand clap over there? As she gets prepared, I do have something from the White House. I have a note from the White House about this event today. I don't know why y'all laughing. Y'all see it? Y'all see it? We got a note from the White House. I'm going to read what it says. President Phyllis Ellis, President Donald Trump wishes you the greatest hopes and aspiration in leading the celebration of the NAACP's 65th birthday, and he wishes that he could be here. He wishes he could be here, especially to hear the speech by Frederick Douglass. Now, wait a minute. I know we're not supposed, I know, but the president wanted to be here, and we have to honor his note. Amen? Go ahead and bring us some beautiful music. Thank you. Let us give lovely singer one more hand clap. Come on now.
Thank you. My name is Lydia Harrell. Thank you so much. I am the lovely singer. Thank you so much.
Yes. Give us your name again. Give us your name.
Lydia Harrell. Lydia, lovely singer Harrell.
Lydia, lovely singer Harrell. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you all go back to your chairs and as you continue eating your delicious meal, I have the distinguished honor to introduce two very important members of our family. And I mean that. I'm going to first ask that our current mayor, Moses Rodriguez, come up and give us a speech. Yes, a speech. Okay, you have. What are you reaching for? Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Moses Rodriguez.
My fellow Americans, we are gathered here today. Well, you said a speech. But anyways, I just, on behalf of the city that we lead, I just want to thank everybody for being supporters of the NAACP. As one of the grandfathers of our organizations in the city. I say grandfather because you're the oldest of the organizations that help folks in our community. And we're proud of the fact that you continue to lead us in making sure that we who are elected, we who are in the governing side of things, are kept in check to make sure we're doing what's right and best for the citizens of Brockton. But I'm not here for a speech because I was told that I could not do that. But as as a politician, anytime a microphone is smacked in your face, you might as well take advantage of it. But I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's wonderful that 65 years have passed. We wish you another 65 years because it's organizations like yours, Madam President, that keeps our city strong and moving forward. So thank you for having us. Thank you for joining them. And please continue to support the NAACP in Brockton. Thank you.
That was clever. Ladies and gentlemen, of the President of the Brockton City Council, Mayor-elect Robert Sullivan. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. This is a proud day in the history of Brockton. I just want to, on behalf of the City Council and in my next role, I just want to tell you that the past members and the present members are true champions within the City of Champions. Phyllis, you know, the esteemed president, gave a good summary of what the NAACP has done, the history of Brockton from Judge Cohen to present day. You know, one thing that I became aware of, and I did not know this, is that African-American men have a higher rate of prostate cancer. Steve Bernard explained that to me when he came before the City Council. It's the information sharing that makes Brockton so special, and the NAACP is without question top of the top in terms of giving back to the community. We need to build it. We need to keep the membership up. And again, I just want to thank you, and I just say 65 more years. And if you have a glass, raise it because it's deserving. Amen. To the NAACP, thank you very much. Thank you.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you, Mayor-elect Sullivan and Mayor Rodriguez. I am going through my notes to make sure that I pronounce someone that is dear to me, her name correctly. So give me 1 second. I heard that, Phyllis. Don't be rushing me, Phyllis. You know I have to do it right. You be rushing me. I don't understand it. And I don't even know where my note is. I think, Phyllis, you might have taken my note. So I am going to say these, just charge it to my mind, not to my heart, but I'm going to do the best that I can. Amen. The NAACP, the Brockton NAACP, we have 7 outstanding members of the community receiving awards this evening. The person who nominated them will let us know why they have nominated the person for their award. I just, as a housekeeping matter, awardees have 2 minutes to say thank you, because we are pushing for time. And I understand from Phyllis there will be an electric slide sometime this evening, so I can't wait to see that. For the first award, we have the Pioneer Award, which will be awarded to Mary E. Baker, posthumously. I'm sorry, I'm tongue twisted. She was nominated by Tim Trask. Accepting her award for her mother will be Dr. Denise Baker in Gabingobo. And if I said that wrong, I apologize. Doctor, did I say that wrong? Come on up here, please. She's got a rich heck of a name to say, but I gave it my best shot. Oh, no, you're not, no. And you know, if we weren't on mic, I would say thick as in. Oh, because that's not, well, that's, yeah, no, I see that. Brother Tim Trask, please. And I would think that we'll do that later. So Tim, Brother Trask is going to explain why he nominated your mom.
Amen.
Yes.
Come up too. I'm just going to read what I wrote. Mary Elizabeth Baker was born in 1923 and was a lifelong Brockton resident. How many of you knew Mary Baker? How many of you are related to Mary Baker? She used to introduce everybody to me as her niece or nephew. Okay, she was born in 1923. She was a member of one of the founding African-American families of the city. Her father, General Baker, a descendant of slaves, and his wife, Nanny, were instrumental in founding the Lincoln Congregational Church. Their many children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, have blessed Brockton for over 100 years. Mary graduated from Brockton High School in 1941, and having been rejected by several nursing schools because of her race, she worked for years as a legal secretary before becoming the first African-American to work at Brockton City Hall. Mary was involved in community affairs during her entire life, and when she died suddenly in 1995, she was planning a run for Brockton City Council. Mary earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and her master's degree from Cambridge College. After watching Mary's work with students of color in the Brockton area, President Gerard F. Burke hired her to run the first minority outreach office at Massasoit Community College. The results were a remarkable increase in the number of minority students who felt at home at the college because of Mary's welcoming and encouraging leadership. That's where I met her. Mary established the Top of the Rainbow Club for all students, and with them she conducted public discussions on campus as well as on television about race relations and other important social issues. If you turn to page 15 in your program, take a look at the little picture of her there. That's a photograph of a painting by Sam Burchell, as the program states, an art professor then at Massasoit. He's retired now. Sam painted her from a frame taken from the last television program she made in the year she died. This frame, which is 1/30th of a second from a half-hour show, captures Mary's spirit. Her shining face is looking up. It's a face of joy. It's the face of a woman who, even though she already has the cancer that will kill her, is overcoming. Mary directly encouraged thousands of students to continue their studies, and she changed the atmosphere of Massasoit Community College in the city of Brockton, where she was one of Brockton's most prominent champions. She is still inspiring young people today as they learn from all the people she led to success a generation ago. In 2008, thanks to efforts primarily by her daughter, Denise, now I've lost my place. The Brockton School Committee voted to name an elementary school sited near a prominent entrance to the city, the Mary E. Baker Elementary School. Every time I drive up North Quincy Street, just a bit up the hill from one of the nursing schools that did not admit her in 1941 because of her skin color, I nod and smile at her victory. With the school and in many other ways, Mary Baker's memory is enshrined in the City of Champions.
Denise, your award.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody looks beautiful tonight. I am, like I told Miss Ellis, I have been emotional since I got her letter in the mail that my mom had been nominated, and I am honored to be able to accept this award. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but my mother's spirit is here. So I want to thank everyone, President Phyllis Ellis, for your leadership and members for this beautiful event. Civil rights and social justice are the hallmark of the NAACP mission and very much needed in our world today. I come before you as a proud daughter, humbled by the courageous dedication and activism of my mother, Mary Elizabeth Baker. Her legacy continues to touch many lives in the city of Brockton, but also those near and far. My family and I are honored to accept this award on her behalf. I want to share with all of you some inspiration about my mother, the 3 things that I remind myself to do every day to keep her spirit alive and with me at all times. Things my mother made look very easy. My mother loved deeply. My mother loved her family deeply and would do anything for them to move forward. She is a branch on the Baker family tree that has strong 12 siblings represent the branches. 2 are her brothers. The youngest branches are here with me tonight, Melbourne Sr. and Raymond Sr. Off of the 12 branches are many colorful leaves, the Baker children, who are also here by my side tonight. My mother was crazy in love, deeply in love with her granddaughter, Marissa, and together they did their missionary work. Those two are a true love story. Marissa fulfilled my mother's deferred dream to be a registered nurse. She is now a registered nurse at Mass General Hospital. My mother was kind. Oh, God. My mother was kind, and she cared about diverse people, the City of Champions community, and the joy of helping people in and around her life. 2, my mother laughed often. She was funny. She really was funny, and would have you laughing in her office or at church, no matter what kind of day she was having. She wanted to make you smile, and the only time my mother would not take any calls was when she was watching her weekly shows, Flip Wilson, Carol Burnett, and Johnny Carson. She would laugh hysterically every week. 3, my mother lived passionately. My mother loved life. Her influence on me and many others was her black girl magic. She could make you believe you could and then help you get to where you wanted to go. Education was key because she said it allowed you to raise your own bar and succeed. She was passionate about her faith and her personal relationship with God, and she used that living and loving to get things done. There was no stopping her. If she was on a mission for something or someone, she was like Roadrunner. She might ask you for your help, and if you said yes, she would tell you the plan. If you said no, she would simply smile at you and say, okay. Then she would, you would see her dust, like Roadrunner saying, beep, beep. She was on her way. She only believed in the possibilities, nothing else. Most important to me about my mother living passionately was something I did not get until my cousin Carrie and I went to see the movie Harriet last week. Before Harriet Tubman jumped off the bridge into the crashing river below, she looked into her slave master's eyes. Harriet knew her sole purpose at that time and her divine calling. That is what I did not understand until now, after seeing that movie. My mother found her sole purpose, and she lived her divine calling. She knew exactly what God wanted from her life. So telling her to slow down was just not an option for her. For that courage, I am so blessed to be her daughter. She is my shero. Her influence continues and her legacy lives on. So I would just kindly like to close with my heavenly love letter. Dear Mom, thank you for your courage to love deeply, laugh often, and live passionately. I know you want to stay behind the scenes, but we are celebrating you tonight as a pioneer whose star continues to shine bright. I feel your spirit with me every day like a warm blanket. In our last conversation together, you gave me some tall marching orders. Stay with God, do good things in the world, keep our family together, and teach Marissa to do the same. You made it look easy, Mom, but no excuses. I am trying. All is well. I love you. God bless, and thank you.
That was heartfelt, and I want to thank Sister Baker for that lovely speech and lovely letter to her mom. At this time, I'm going to ask that Brother Stephen Weiner, who nominated Rabbi Werb for the Faith in Action Award, please join us.
Before I read what I wrote to nominate Rabbi Werb, I'd like to do a small prayer, which is very appropriate for tonight. It's a Hebrew prayer. And I ask anybody that knows the prayer to join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. Yeah, I will. For over 40 years, Rabbi H. David Werb has been a true pioneer in our community. He came to Brockton in 1971 and helped establish Temple Beth Emunah as a center for Jewish social and religious life. During the 1970s and 80s, Rabbi Werb served first as President of the Massachusetts Board of Rabbis, and later as President of the New England Rabbinical Assembly. At Temple Beth Emunah, he helped pioneer many changes. When it came to change, Rabbi Werb was way ahead of how the times they were changing. Two of the most important were early recognition of women being an equal part in religious practice. For many years, men were considered the leaders and women took a back seat. Rabbi Werb had the vision to open our temple to all. The second innovative deed was the recognition of mixed marriages and the reaching out to non-Jewish spouses. The conservative movement started to reach out in approximately 2002, while Brockton started in the late 1980s and serves as a model for the rest of the country and state. Rabbi Werb recognized the importance of being part of a greater community. In the early 1990s, he was one of the founding members of BIC, the Brockton Interfaith Community. He helped guide the organization in its infancy to what it has become today, an advocacy group for human and civil rights. During that time, Rabbi Werb became active with the Jewish Catholic dialogue programs at Stonehill College. He did sermons at Catholic churches and other Christian services throughout the city and had priests and ministers speak at the temple. Stonehill College recently built a meditation garden on campus in his honor. At one point in the 1990s and early 2000s, he was appointed by the mayor to serve on the city's Diversity Commission. In 1997, he helped organize and ran till his retirement our city's MLK luncheon at Temple Beth Amuna. He did this by involving all the clergy he could find in the initial planning and implementation. The importance was that members of all faiths and races came together over a common element: food and the thirst for civil and equal rights. Many great speakers came to address us, and just about all the clergy from all the congregations were represented. One constant which Rabbi Werb insisted from the beginning was that a representative from the NAACP be part of our program. In a letter by Reverend Walker of Messiah Baptist Church to Rabbi Werb in 1997, Rabbi Walker, Walker called our program the right thing to do. Long after Rabbi Werb's retirement, his legacy lived through the joint efforts of Temple Beth Amuna and Messiah Baptist Church. A little background. Rabbi Werb grew up in a rabbinic family. He lived his life according to Torah, Jewish laws and practices. There never was a question in his mind on what the Jewish obligations were to our community and country. He was a student of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was often called Dr. King's Rabbi because of his commitment to civil rights. Rabbi Werb was considered Brockton's rabbi. Rabbi Werb was greatly influenced by Dr. King's address to the Rabbinical Assembly and Convention in 1968 and the Reverend Jeffrey Jackson's address in 1994. He brought these thoughts to his work for the community. It is an honor and my privilege to nominate Rabbi H. David Werb for the NAACP Faith in Action Award. Since his retirement over 10 years ago, his legacy lives on today in our community. Amen.
As you heard a few minutes ago, we've been asked to follow the rule of KISS, keep it short and sweet, or keep it short, stupid. So I'm going to try to do that, so I'm going to have to read my speech very quickly. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." The Brockton area chapter NAACP, in its 65 years of existence, has always urged its members to speak out about the things that matter in regard to racial inequality, discrimination, and prejudice. Congratulations to President Phyllis Ellis and members of the organization, of which I am now a proud member, for 65 years of devoted service to the life of our community. Thank you also for this awesome, beautiful award that you have bestowed upon me this evening. I'm very humbled and honored to receive it. For many years, it has been my privilege to preside over the community luncheon program that I inaugurated to unite our Brockton community, black and white, Christian, Muslim, and Jew, people of all faiths and creeds, in celebrating the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at Tamuna. In so doing, I brought together rabbis, priests, and ministers, as well as lay leaders and parishioners, for a luncheon sponsored by our Brotherhood and Sisterhood, assisted by members of the community, followed by a program and noted guest speaker. My good friend and colleague, Reverend Michael Walker, whom we're going to hear from very soon, always participated in the program and helped me in the planning, along with members and leaders of Messiah Baptist Church. Following the program at Temple Beth Emunah, we used to go to Messiah Baptist Church for another presentation presided over by Reverend Walker. I think you're a popular guy, Michael. When I retired in 2007, Steve Weiner, past Brotherhood president, took over the running of the luncheon and the program for me. He did a sterling job until this past year when he moved to New Jersey with his family. This was a true labor of love for him, and we owe him a debt of gratitude for all of his hard work over the years. I never intended our celebration of Dr. King to be in competition or conflict with your program the next day, and we always encouraged everyone at our luncheon to attend, but rather it was a broadening of the community celebration of this central figure in the civil rights movement. Dr. King and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who marched alongside of him in 1965 from Selma to Montgomery, were very good and close friends. In March 1968, 10 days before he was tragically assassinated, Rabbi Heschel introduced Dr. King as the keynote speaker at our rabbinical convention in upstate New York, which I attended. Many rabbis left that convention to go down south and join Dr. King. This impressed me greatly, and I always wanted to do something personal to support the movement. That is why I inaugurated our Temple community-wide celebration of Dr. King's birthday. I'm very pleased that not only are members of my family here this evening, but also members of Temple Beth Emunah who have come to support me and to support the Brockton area NAACP. This is indeed a wonderful evening of celebration, a true milestone in the life of the Brockton chapter NAACP. Thank you so much for including me in this celebration, along with the other notable honorees.
Rabbi Werb and Steve, thank you so much for that. It was very inspiring. I'm not going to let the president go back down. I'm not going to let our president go back down. That's not fair. At this time, the Community Enrichment Award, which goes to our Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association, an association that has been outstanding in the celebration of the history of Frederick Douglass. I'm going to have Janet Trask join us, as well as Lynn Smith, the Executive Director. Thank you.
Welcome, Lynn. I nominated the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association for the NAACP Community Enrichment Award. This association was started and organized by Lynn Smith, a true community organizer who also helps other city groups in forming their neighborhood associations in Brockton. Lynn, Madeline, Smith was born a force of nature, instilled with energy and creativity. Lynn and the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association have helped to raise awareness of Frederick Douglass, the country's first civil rights activist. His impact on the city of Brockton and the city's Underground Railroad. Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association continues to work on preserving the history of our Brockton Liberty Tree, which you all have seen, I'm sure, on Frederick Douglass Avenue, and the story of the role Brockton played in the Underground Railroad. The association helps to connect diverse groups of people in our city and is committed to organizing neighborhoods for meaningful change and meaningful dialogue. Frederick Douglass reflected the diversity of our city, and Lynn has taught all of us more about this. He worked with Cape Verdean shipbuilders, served as a minister to Haiti, stood with Daniel O'Connell as Ireland fought for independence, supported Susan B. Anthony and women's suffragettes, and fought for equal pay for black soldiers during the Civil War. The beautiful Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Garden beside Messiah Baptist Church is a testament to the work of Lynn and the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association over there. It is a place of peace and contemplation surrounded by flowers and a history of Frederick Douglass and his legacy on large posters that have been placed there. The association continues to work with schools, churches, libraries, public and civic groups, and nonprofits to enrich our community consciousness to better understand the impact of slavery on our country and to promote dialogue on race and freedom. Lynn Smith has teamed up, besides her whole team over here, with Willie Wilson, who most of you know from teaching history at Brockton High, particularly African American history. And Lynn and Willie have become partners in sharing the story in libraries, schools, and everywhere else that I mentioned. And they have worked on getting some grants through Mass Humanities, which have only promoted more programs. And they're true partners in history. So Willie, I don't know if you'd like to come up here or anybody, but anyhow, Lynn. Thank you so much. Phyllis almost dropped dead when she saw my 10 pages. Of course, the problem is it's printed in 72 point, so it's really only about 30 seconds because I'm too vain to put my glasses on now. But anyway, I'm just here representing the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association. I have a group at my table that are the real VIPs. Willie Wilson, a member of our board of directors, an invaluable asset because of his commitment, his knowledge, his institutional memory. I'd also like to acknowledge our other board members, Nancy Martin, and another awardee tonight, Noube Rateau. Noube, give everybody a wave. Janet Trask also serves as an officer. Ray Henningsen serves as an officer. And Willie and I would be remiss if we did not thank all of our members, all of our volunteers, all of our supporters, and you know, the quiet supporters that people forget about, the two gentlemen who own the land, who host our community garden, who pay the taxes on that piece of property without any acknowledgement in a year, and I want to give them a shout out, Robert Howard and Jimmy Thomas. Thank you so much. Most importantly in the audience are three of the hardest working women that I have the honor of knowing. Women who volunteer, women who solve problems, women who are instrumental in keeping the community garden growing and our program of events growing. Women who rake, women who weed, women who haul, women who install, women who uninstall. Please give a thank you to Kathy Rose, to Cindy Gray, and to Sarah Michelle. They exemplify the traits that the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association is being honored for: equity, inclusion, integrity, and collaboration. Here is to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them. Our focus at the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association is to spread the message of Mr. Douglass, whose instruments, he said, were his voice, his pen, and his vote. And we have connected Mr. Douglass to many of our constituencies in Brockton, as Janet has mentioned, to Cape Verdeans, to Haitians, to veterans, to women, to the Irish, by sharing his own intersecting life experiences. We take great pride in the fact that our events are designed so that everyone feels the bond and connection of our common humanity. And that is why this award is so precious to us. Because, as the saying goes, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Thank you.
Excellent. At this time, we're going to ask that Terry Linde join us regarding the Education Award that will be awarded to Mark Linde. Coach. I know, Terry, you want me to do the speech. I know. You get it. Do the speech. Stand next to your husband. Go.
Come on, husband.
You want me to do it?
No, I'll start it.
Go.
So everybody knows me, but I'm not a public speaker, but I did nominate my husband for this award because of all the work he's done with students and his teaching. His mother was a teacher, his two grandmothers were teachers, and it's just in his blood. And so I wrote something, but I'm gonna have Tony read it, but you know, you read it.
So this is where Phyllis is gonna kick me. So Mark has been a tireless advocate for all the students of all backgrounds since 1983. What people don't know about Mark is he's a professor. So Professor Linde of the Massasoit Community College has had a lifelong commitment to education, and that's what finds him to be such an extraordinary Brocktonian. So I'm not going to read his speech, I'll just do my little spiel. Mark, not only was Mark is currently a member of the Massasoit College. Mark also served on the Southeastern Regional School Committee, a school committee that I currently serve, a school committee in which he led me on. So we want to thank you for your service in that regard. Mark continued his commitment to community by chairing the Brockton Public Library, leading in that library for many, many years. What you all may not know is that Mark has skipped town. He no longer lives in Brockton, so we're upset with him. But we love Mark, and we love the work that you've done, your dedication to education, your dedication to children that look like me has been outstanding. We love you and we respect you from it, and that's from the heart. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for Mark receiving the Community Enrichment Award. President Ellis.
First of all, I want to thank my parents. Both of my parents were teachers. My mother was Brockton Public Schools Elementary and in Boston Public Schools. My dad taught at Stonehill and at Massasoit before me. I now have broken his record, 26 years. But education is in the blood. Education has been in my family for my whole life. I had the privilege in high school to be elected as one of the student reps to the Brockton School Committee. I met giants like Robert Jones, who ended up being a great superintendent of schools, Tom Whalen, Matt George, and I'm so happy that Mike Thomas is the new Brockton superintendent. I think that's phenomenal for Brockton. Nelson Mandela said that education is one of the most powerful weapons in life. And education is the great equalizer. When you're dealing with kids from the young grades all the way up to my age and older. I had a class at Massasoit where the age range was from 17 to 71. It was an intercession class. It was my straight A class. 4 hours of public speaking for 12 days. No snowstorms, no nothing. And the people were impressive. At the end of the class, they set me up a Facebook page. We're all still in touch with each other to this day. They're all over the country. They've all grown and prospered, and I follow their careers. I don't friend anybody while I'm their teacher. After the class is over, they get in touch with me. But it's been a privilege and an honor, and the only reason we moved to Bridgewater is our grandson is around the corner. I just started over there getting involved. We just passed a debt exclusion for the elementary school with the roof that fell down. He was in the school, he got displaced. Now he's gonna have a new school for 1 year, and then we're gonna go look at the middle school because we're gonna have to do something over there. But public service is in the blood. My parents taught me to give something back. And my dad knew Bernard Cohen, who was one of the founders of the NAACP in Brockton, and I was honored 5 years ago to give his wife an award for him posthumously, thanks to Steve Bernard, who was the president at the time, and that was one of the honors of my life. So I'm just thrilled to be here, humbled, and very appreciative of the honor. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Professor Linde. At this time, we're going to have the Youth and Empowerment Award, which goes to Laronda Campbell, and we're going to ask Ms. Wanda Ellis Castillo. Your mother said have Shonda come up.
Nashonda. Just like Sean. Everyone's been getting my name wrong since grade school.
Blame it on your mother.
I do. It's a beautiful name, though. It's unfortunate that everyone gets it wrong. But it's okay. I forgive you. So for almost 20 years, Laronda Campbell has run the 5-Star Cheer Athletics Program, formerly known as the Brockton Youth Cheer Program, that positively influences young people to be their authentic selves and strive for excellence through cheer. Her mission is to instill positive manners, teamwork, inspiration, and build self-confidence and self-esteem in youth. Both recreational and competitive cheer programs give both girls and boys the opportunity to learn new skills, compete, and also give back to their community by performing at local nursing homes. Laronda embodies the Community Enrichment Award as she has effectively influenced positive values of diversity, equity, inclusion, collaboration, and integrity through her cheer program at Brockton Youth Cheer. Her impact on youth in the Brockton community has been incredible and helped give youth of Brockton skills to carry with them through higher education and life. On behalf of the Brockton Area Branch NAACP, it is my honor to present Laronda Campbell with the Youth Empowerment Award. The work that you do with our youth is impressive, it is important, it is needed, and it is appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. A quick speech. I am very long-winded and I'm not going to do that. I am a cheer coach. I want to say thank you all for honoring me, the NAACP. I am a member of the NAACP. Yes. So it's very important that I was honored, and I felt very humbled in that honorship, and also appreciative of you all taking the time to honor not only me, but the other folks here, the notable honorees here tonight. So I want to say thank you all. I thank God, first of all, who's my creator, my divine creator, thank God. I want to thank my family. They came out and supported me on tonight. I thank my friends for coming out and supporting me. Thank my mom who's passed on, and my dad for instilling mannerism in us as a young girl. We grew up in South Carolina and moved to Brockton back in '84. And I came here with 5 brothers, and I'm the only girl, and they played football, and of course they made me become the cheerleader. But that's all right. I decided to make a point across that not only can boys do it, but girls have a place too. And when we came to Brockton, there was just no organized competitive cheerleading program. So I felt like where there was not a path, one needs to be created. So we decided to start this program with my nieces and my 2 daughters involved. I think my nieces are here, Gabby and Ashley. And they challenged, my brother challenged me and said, why don't you start a program? And we did just that. We started a program with a very few girls interested in cheerleading. Word got out in Brockton, can you believe that? Word got out in Brockton, and they found out we were there, and we had about 175 cheerleaders that enrolled the first year. I didn't think we were gonna be doing cheerleading this long, but we have been doing it now for almost 20 years in Brockton. We are in the Brockton Holiday Parade. We developed the program after being in Brockton High School, so yes, I love Mike Thomas because he hooked me up. Yes, he did. So he has a special place in our heart, especially Brockton Public Schools. From there, we opened a program, and we have our own gym known as 5-Star Athletics. We teach little girls and boys the art of competitive cheerleading. So not only do you get a chance to see little girls, you can also see boys. But it was important for us to establish this because our kids, our brown and our black kids, had somebody to see as a representation of what we do. We're great, they're athletic, and we wanted them to know that they had an opportunity to exhibit their talents and their strengths as well. So we hope to keep all kids included. No one should ever feel like there's no place for them to perform. So we started this program, and yes, we go to competitions, and they are bad. They are bad. So look for us in Disney. We go every year. Turn on ESPN, you will find us. And yes, we're from Brockton, 5-Star Athletics. My dad always taught me, manners will carry you where money won't. People remember how you treat them. So we hope that we keep cheerleading alive. It's not just cheerleading that we're doing. We're creating our next leaders for tomorrow, and that's what we hope our cheerleading program continues to do. Thank you all, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Evangelist Campbell. Thank you, Evangelist. Wow. That was remarkable. That was remarkable. The next award, or the next awardee, goes to Joan Madden, who was nominated, Auntie Joan, who was nominated by President Phyllis Ellis. Auntie Joan, would you please join us?
you doing? When I look at Joan, I see grit.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Having grit means you have courage and you show the strength of your character. A person with true grit has passion and perseverance. Goals are set and followed through. A person who works really hard to follow through on commitments has true grit. This is not a word you see or you hear often. Let's growing up. Joan Madden possesses all of the characteristics of grit: courage, perseverance, resilience, and passion. You set goals and you follow through. You have been a member of the Brockton area branch NAACP for many years and have participated in more programs and events than most. You were and still are actively involved in the political arena. Your constant work at the Salisbury Park event is another example of your true grit. So it is my pleasure to nominate you and give you this award. Miss Madden. Well deserved.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Phyllis, especially you. Having been born in Harlem, New York, my father was going through the Depression, and he flipped a coin and he said to my mother, heads, we're going to stay here and work it out. Tails, we're going to Brockton. Thank God it came out tails. If I knew where that coin was, I'd put it in a frame and hang it on the wall. I am so happy that I was raised in Brockton. I enjoy the things I do, the people I work with, and those who I help along the way. And I want to say thank you to all of you. I have a speech, but I just don't like being in front of the...
She's shy.
I'm shy. So thank you so much. I love you all. God bless.
Okay, all right. I'm going to do this next one for my president.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I need my flask.
The next award is the Image Award. Not one of the most, but a very important award. That's going to go to Noube Rateau. Noube was nominated by Pat Monteith. Pat Monteith is not here this evening, so we're going to have Mark Linde do the presentation. Mark, will you join us? He looks very classy.
So first of all, Noube previewed the shoes on Facebook earlier today, and I said there is absolutely no way that I can compete. You're styling, and this is what we have. I met Noube when he was 13 years old. He came to BCA Studios, and he said, I have a TV show. I do it in my basement. It was called Steppin' Up Big Time, and we had a lot of people that went through BCA. Now, the other thing you need to know is Noube said, you know, I can really lend professionalism to your sports coverage at Brockton High. We have Miles Jackson out in the audience who does a wonderful job. He's been a volunteer for us forever, okay? But we've had Noube, we've had Peter Zimbor, we've had everybody that has come through BCA started at Brockton High. TV program, intern program, video club. We hired him part-time, then we hired him full-time. There were people that came, Mike is standing out there running the camera. He came through Brockton High. And that's what it's all about. This young man makes me proud every day because what he ended up doing from humble beginnings, and he is humble. He likes getting awards, don't get me wrong. He likes getting awards. But Noube is one of the kindest people and someone who guides people. And the fact that he became a teacher up at Lynn Tech, that makes me really proud. Every year at Father's Day, I get another text. Happy Father's Day from this guy. And that's how I feel about him. I think he's one of the greatest, and I told him all he's got to do when he's on the red carpet like Spike Lee is he's got to give me 2 tickets and a swag bag. And that's all that I ask. So without further ado, the great Noube Rateau.
I know I think I'm the last award, so I don't want to be too long, but I just want to first and foremost thank and acknowledge God, because without him, I'd be nowhere. So I want to thank and acknowledge him. I just want to acknowledge 2 organizations or 2 places that have been so crucial throughout my career. One of them is Brockton Community Access, and the other is Bridgewater State University. So shout out to Bridgewater State and BCA. I truly want to dedicate my whole life to educating people through media, particularly the youth. I just want to dedicate my life to that. There's no hidden agenda, and that's what I want to do, particularly people in the inner city. So I'm going to dedicate my life doing that, and I'm just really humble for this award. I do want to dedicate this award to 2 people who have been very instrumental in my career that are no longer here, and I want to acknowledge Jay Miller and late Mayor Bill Carpenter. I want to dedicate this to them. And one last thing, just to anyone who's really pursuing a dream, and there were times where I really wanted to pursue something, and being rejected seemed to be the norm. Literally, this media thing started, like Mark said, in the basement of my parents' house. Till a couple months ago, we're holding the Emmy Award, beating PBS and Fox 25 News. So anything is possible, and dreams come true. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'm going to ask State Representative Jerry to join us here at the podium, as well as Senator Mike Brady. I'm going to ask that each awardee, the folks that have received an award this evening, you can leave your award from the NAACP, but could you please join us here at the podium? Come back up. Yeah. Please. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Denise, Rabbi Weiner, Frederick Douglass. How do you guys want to do this?
We can just hand them on that. We just want to recognize the NAACP. This is not from the White House. This is from the People's House, the State House. That was good. And as my good friend Reverend Walker would say, today is a good day. So we have a citation from the House of Representatives and the Senate. Be it hereby known to all that the Mass House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to the Brockton area NAACP in recognition of 65 years of keeping the civil rights flame burning in Brockton. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and continue all endeavors. Signed by the Speaker of the House, myself, Representative Dubois, Cronin, and Senator Brady. So, I want to say something.
And Representative Cronin, and I want to congratulate not only the recipients tonight, but all the women out there who have taken leadership roles. And Representative Claire Cronin is in Washington, D.C. in a women's conference. She is the first woman chairwoman of the Judiciary Committee in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So hopefully we can get more women involved with leadership. So she wishes she could be here, but she sends her regards. And I got a little story to tell the newly elected officials of some of the trials and tribulations we go through in our job. None of us are perfect, but I got a call today before coming here to the event, and a friend of mine from another part of the district in the city of Brockton, a hawk had dropped a squirrel on her front lawn. So she called me up and says, can you get the animal control to remove the squirrel? And I said, the animal control is not going to come to remove a squirrel, so she asked me to remove it. So constituent services never end. So congratulations not only to our newly elected mayor, interim mayor Moise Rodriguez, and all the newly elected officials coming on board in the city of Brockton. All of us working together makes this a city of champions. God bless you all, and God bless the recipients tonight. Thank you.
At this time, Representative Jerry Cassidy will be giving out their recognitions from the legislator, and they are actually in order. We're pretty organized. Denise, can I read that just to let people know what it says? So I'll just read because they all say the same thing. Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to the family of Mary E. Baker in recognition of Ms. Baker's receiving the 2019 Pioneer Award at the 65th Anniversary Gala of the Brockton NAACP. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for the future good, fortune, and continued success in all of its endeavors. State Representative Claire Cronin, State Representative Jerry Cassidy, State Senator Michael Brady, on behalf of the House, Speaker of the House, Robert A. DeLeo, offered by Michelle Dawes, State Representative. That's what they all say. Let us give them a hand clap. Thank you. You said you was going to give me a Bible? Oh, okay. All right. He says no. He says get to the word. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the president of our branch, Phyllis Ellis, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Reverend Michael Walker. Well, I didn't have to be quiet. I was waiting.
I love that introduction. Thank you so very, very much. I think without question, Bishop Tony Branch, I don't know if he volunteered for anything. He got drafted for everything tonight. And what a remarkable spirit. And how good of him, how very good of him to join with Representative Cassidy, not only to bring us a note from the State House, but from the White House as well. I was just waiting for him to, read the tweet for us tonight. I'm wondering what the tweet of the day might happen to be. Big congratulations. Congratulations to each and every one of the awardees. You're a beautiful group of people. And truly in this ice age of indifference and evasion and deflection, it's wonderful to have people in our own community that are beckoning us and summoning us to remind us that we cannot stop at the foothills. when Kilimanjaro is beckoning. So thank you so much to each of these honorees. Give them another big hand. And I will add personally, I'm glad it came out tails. I'm very glad. Now I will tell you, there is one other award that that you didn't mention, but certainly should be mentioned. In addition to saying, and the people at 80 Legion Parkway can tell you, I know where I'm going. You might not realize that, because sometimes I'll take a long route around, but I know where I'm headed. I am so grateful and happy. Congratulations to Mayor Rodriguez and to Mayor-elect Robert Sullivan. Congratulations. Now, I told you I knew where I was going. The award that you didn't mention, but if you're happy to see me, then you've got to say a big, big thank you and a big hug to Sister Sharon Molden. Sharon Molden and Bishop Tony Branch, again, I don't know if they volunteered for anything, but they've been drafted for everything. So all of my getting around, you see, getting from Logan and then all of the traffic through Logan here tonight. And I don't know if Sister Sharon Molden, well, let's just say, I'm Baptist, you see, we're Baptist. We're Baptist. We're Baptist. Even though you heard tonight, I'm Rabbi as well. So I don't know if she didn't realize that I was part Rabbi as well, because they were, let's just say they were serving communion tonight without the bread. They were serving communion. And not the Welch's grape juice type. Now, why she got me here late, I don't know. Because I'm Rabbi as well as Baptist. But thank you again, really, thank you very much. These are absolutely beautiful programs. And what a remarkable night you shared with these absolutely beautiful, beautiful programs and beautiful program booklets. Absolutely exceptional. So congratulations to this entire anniversary committee of the NAACP, and to all of you that are part of the NAACP, and to your president, Madam President Phyllis Ellis. Thank you so much. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for this committee, and I'm very grateful for Sister Phyllis Ellis's example, for her fierce loyalty, her unyielding commitment, and akin to Rabbi Werb and to Aunt Mary and several of the awardees tonight, she's always encouraging us and inspiring us, pushing us lovingly into the next space to have the vision of our lives fulfilled. So thank you. Now, I told you I'm Baptist, so you all just have to indulge me for a minute. You have to indulge me for a minute. Because although I'm 1,800 miles away, my heart is still on Legion Parkway. So you all indulge me for a minute. All of Messiah, stand up. Now let's show them how we get a hug. Aren't they wonderful? They mean that too. You know what? I'm gonna tell you two things, because you know what? I'm gonna tell you three things. I was walking out the door, and Paulette said, I thought you was gonna say goodbye, or love you, whatever. She said, no tangents. Don't go off on tangents. But when people tell you I've gone home, I'm literally at home. And I'm doing something, I'm doing something that not many black people anywhere in this country do. And this will make sense in a minute. We live now in the house that I was raised in as a child. And my neighbors, 5 of us, literally 5 houses, all next door, 5 of us are all living in the houses where we were raised as children. We grew up playing together as children. I was here in Massachusetts, some of them were in California, but all of us were in different parts of the country. And today, 5 of us, right next door, are all at home in our parents' houses. I am incredibly proud of that, and proud of my neighbors as well. And don't tell the people of 80 Legion Parkway I said this, but I'm aware of a couple of things going on since I've been gone. Don't mention this, so 80 Legion Parkway, tune your ears out. I'm talking to the other people right now. I'm aware of a couple of things going on at 80 Legion that's going on or not going on, whichever way you want to put it. I have an 11-month-old grandson, and Michael named him, after she named him, Cruz Michael. Now here's what the folk of 80 Legion Parkway don't know. Cruz Michael is 11 years old, and I'm already grooming him for 80 Legion Parkway. So you didn't get rid of me yet. $246 years of slavery. 71 years of Jim Crow. 37 years of lynching. And lynching, by the way, is a unique American institution. It was invented here. 55 years of what Michelle Alexander calls the new Jim Crow. And today, what Princeton Professor Rua Benjamin calls the new Jim Code. And the new Jim Code, she says in her book, Race After Technology, the new Jim Code has taken racism, hidden it, but at the same time, speeding it up and deepening it in such ways that it looks invisible, looks undetectable, looks innocuous and innocent, but racial stereotypes are being codified by human programmers with the biases they have, and then placed into the codes and the algorithms that programmers are creating. One example she gives. Imagine the scenario, and there are several of them, but imagine the scenario of a self-driving car. The problem is that the self-driving cars that are being created today are capable of recognizing lighter-skinned men, but not darker-skinned women. So imagine a self-driving car coming down the street and a black or brown woman crossing the street. The self-driving car is not capable of recognizing a darker-skinned woman as a person. Consequently, what looks to be nobody's fault but the car not recognizing a person of color as a person. Also note, 119 plus years of implicit biases and their explicit impact on health care outcomes. It is no accident. From medical school training all the way to the under-treatment of pain in black and brown people, and also in the United States today, over 84,000 black and brown lives are needlessly being lost because of avoidable differences in the treatment of black and brown people. It is no accident. University of Pennsylvania social psychologist in their research, Samuel Gertner and John DeVidio, Harvard University Medical School Professor Michael Werb, Public Health School Professor Linde Clayton in their book, An American Health Dilemma, all concur with University of Virginia law professor Dana Matthew in her book, Just Medicine, in saying that implicit bias is the single most important determinant in health and health care differences. Implicit biases by medical professionals. The differences in health and health care disparities. Now, since this is a night of reflection, and what a brilliant, brilliant reflection, path, journey President Ellis gave us a moment ago, think about the founding of the NAACP. She mentioned that the NAACP in Brockton, the early and first president she mentioned, was Jewish. Think about the founding of the national NAACP. Ida Wells Burnett, W.E.B. Du Bois, and mostly Jewish liberals and socialists. The challenge for us today is that we must develop new forms. We must develop new forms, we must develop new models, and I encourage you that we learn lessons, and actually, I printed up the lessons. Professor Linde, I've printed up the lessons. I have given to President Ellis a series of lessons that I hope most of you, many of you will take advantage of and accept the lessons, and you can get them from her, or you can go on her website. You can get the lessons. And what I am encouraging and asking in the lessons is that all of us learn about and learn lessons from Marxism, womanism, and Garveyism. Marxism, that we learn about class and imperialist oppression. Womanism, that we learn about women and appreciate women's control of their own bodies and their own destinies. And Garveyism, that we learn the dignity of African peoples, and that we learn new forms, new models, and the new models, the new forms must be cast on a new plane. And that new plane must be a higher moral plane, a more sophisticated plane, a more open-ended theoretical plane, and a more culturally grounded political plane, in that it must be rooted in the everyday lives of ordinary people. People who have the ability and the capacity to control their own lives against circumstances not of their choosing, and who have the ability and the capacity to change the world if only given a chance. So I challenge you, and I trust that each of us will try the exercise and use the exercises in our groups to develop a working knowledge of Marxism, womanism, and Garveyism, to develop a working knowledge so that we can use that knowledge and develop a critique to poverty in our areas of the world. Look at where we are today as a country. Today, the median wealth of black families in America today, the median wealth is $3,600. The median wealth of white families in America today is $147,000 per family. Now do the math. That means that white families possess over 41 times more wealth than black families. Without question, since you started 65 years ago, there has been tremendous progress among blacks at the upper levels. But there has been serious decline at the lower levels. 65 years ago, you would not be sitting in this room. 65 years ago, you would not be sitting in this room in the professions and in the legacies that you have today. But while those of you in this room are doing better, our brothers and sisters at the lower levels are doing worse. William Julius Wilson, in his book, The Truly Disadvantaged, William Julius Wilson says that what used to be a lower class in black America has now become a permanent underclass. He uses Marxist language, not only a proletariat, but a lumpen proletariat, such that the permanent underclass will never be able to make it out of poverty. Today, murder is the leading cause of death for black males ages 15 to 24. Today, 24% of black Americans live below the poverty line. In 1973, black male employment was 73%. Today, check the data, black male employment is now 62.9%. In other words, for every step we make forward, it seems as if we've made 2 steps backward. For every black person that progresses, it seems as if 2 black people experience decline. For every black person entering college, there are 2 black people entering prison. For every black male graduating college, there are at the same time 2 black males dropping out of high school. We have serious work to do. 1934, when President FDR designed Social Security, the aim of Social Security and the aim of AFDC, Aid to Families with Dependent Children, was to provide a safety net for everyone in the country. When Ronald Reagan came into the White House, President Reagan made welfare a symbol of everything negative. In 1965, Rabbi Werb mentioned the dates a moment ago. In 1965, when President Johnson sent the Voting Rights Act to Congress, at the same time, President Johnson sent the Law Enforcement Assistance Act to Congress as well. That act in 1965 that President Johnson sent to Congress, the Law Enforcement Assistance Act, that act, along with the work of Harvard professors James Q. Wilson and social scientist Edward Banfield, that work laid the groundwork for the thought and the belief that crime, violence were innate to being black. So consequently, years later, the Nixon administration took the work of Banfield, of Wilson, and of Daniel Patrick Moynihan, along with the Law Enforcement Assistance Act of 1965, and they codified that work into the belief that black cultural pathology and not poverty was the real cause of crime and violence. So look at what happened. In 1996, Bill Clinton, the Clinton administration, solidified it and literally ended with welfare to workfare and what the Clinton administration called welfare reform, literally ended the safety net. And now, instead of seeing poverty as the cause of crime and poverty as the greatest source of violence, it is now thought it's black cultural pathology. So what's happened since 1996? Welfare reform has succeeded in reducing the government's obligation to the poor. Welfare reform has not ended poverty. Janet Popendick, sociologist Janet Popendick, theologian Robert Lufton, the book Sweet Charity, says no accident that all administrations come out now urging community service, volunteerism, and then putting it on churches, even guilt-tripping churches. Get involved in community service. Tell your students, tell your young, get involved in community service. Because the government is not going to help the poor. Volunteerism, community service is totally ineffective in creating justice. They allow us to feel good about ourselves and say what I did for some poor people, reducing the government's obligation, but not reducing poverty. And isn't it interesting today that in our society today, there's very little outrage against poverty. But there's a whole lot of outrage against poor people. Interestingly, the Pew Foundation says that today, and I laugh so that I don't cry, 54% of Americans think that the poor have it made because of governmental programs. Martin Luther King Jr.'s early assumption, King's early assumption was that if he worked on social, educational, civil, and political rights, then he would also be providing for black economic rights. That was his early assumption. By 1968, King recognized the fallacy, and King's agenda then became emphasizing poverty. Here we are, 2019, and the agenda of many black religious, black social, and black political leaders still leave behind and ignore the poor. 2019, and the agenda of many black, religious, social, and political organizations still leave behind and ignore the poor. In his masterful work, 1982, Prophesy Deliverance, Cornel West says, more than anything else, we need a critique of poverty. And we need a critique of how racism, sexism, ageism, and heterosexism are fostered and intensified by poverty. Selma, Rabbi Abraham Heschel, the gathering that you mentioned, where he introduced Dr. Martin Luther King to the Rabbinical Council, King would remind us that Selma, the 1964 march, is important. But let's also remember the march that Martin Luther King Jr. hoped to lead in 1968. The march he was going to lead in 1968 was entitled A Poor People's Campaign. And it was for an economic Bill of Rights, because he realized by 1968 there will never be economic justice just working for civil, social, and political equality. And it's when he integrated concepts of Marxism and socialism, and King even said, take the best of capitalism and the best of communism, put them together, take the worst of communism and the worst of capitalism and rid society of them. Because for justice in society, and it's also no accident that Martin Luther King Jr.'s economic agenda came into conflict with his civil rights agenda. Because while people were ready to get on board marching for civil rights, they weren't nearly as enthused about an economic Bill of Rights. Is it any accident that King was assassinated when he turned his attention from civil rights to economic rights? When he started talking about socialism and some of the ills of capitalism, and America decided it might be time for you to die. I challenge you today. Let's work and let's develop a critique of poverty. A critique of poverty, and make life better for the poor. In his book, The Irony of American History, Reinhold Niebuhr uses these words, and I close with these words. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Therefore, we must be saved by hope. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we must be saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or our foe as it is from our own standpoint. Therefore, we must be saved by that final form of love, which is forgiveness. Thank you.
Well, Reverend Walker has done it again. Has he not? Give him a hand clap. Messiah ain't the only folks that miss him. We miss you. We miss you. We love you, brother. Amen and amen. Well, that was a wonderful speech. And I pray that there is forgiveness in our hearts. I am going to ask that President Phyllis Ellis join me on the podium to give closing remarks. I know folks have to go, but our president will be giving closing remarks. Let us give her a hand clap.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Walker. That was inspiring. Thank you to all our sponsors: Brockton Housing Authority, Colatonio, AdmiTech Foundation, Brockton Public Schools, Metro South Chamber of Commerce, Copeland Toyota, Congressman and Mrs. Stephen Lynch, State Senator Michael Brady, State Representative Claire Cronin, State Representative Gerard Cassidy, Brockton Community Access, the Merrill family, family of Rabbi H. David Werb, Father Bills and Mainstream House, Messiah Baptist Church, the Audio-Visual Ministry, Franks of Boston, Old School DJ, Laos and Nows, A Classy Touch Events, McMenemy Seafood, Tim and Janet Trask, Mr. and Mrs. Kirk Merritts, Thomas and Leona Martin, and Steve Weiner. Also, thank you to our wonderful committee. They did an outstanding job organizing this event. And a special shout out to Nashonda Ellis for doing the book. And a special shout out to my guru, Russell Linde, he's a very good historian. So guys, we're not done. We're gonna dance. I have to do the Cuban shuffle, so please, please don't leave. All right, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
President Ellis, you're not going anywhere because you know we love you.
Yeah.
Would you please join me?
To do what?
Members of the executive board, if you're here, but if not?
No, let's go.
No, we're not going. No, we're not. You do know the executive board does have some sway.
I want to dance.
She wants to dance.
I want to dance.
President Ellis.
We'll keep it short and sweet. We just wanted to thank our president, our committee chair, our everything. She puts everything together. She's not just our president, but she's our leader. She's our planner and our organizer. So we wanted to recognize her for recognizing all of you, and we thank her.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll stand for this. My favorite, Yellow Roses. Thank you, guys. Speech. Let's dance.
Let's dance.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. This is great.